Hey boys and girls, another day, another daily read aloud. And the book I chose for you today is actually one very special to me. This is a story that I think everyone should read because it makes you kind of look at your life and take what is going on with you and your family and put it into perspective with what's going on in the world sometimes. And always being grateful for the things that you have or looking forward to things in the future. So the story I wanted to read to you today on this lovely Friday is called A Chair for My Mother by Vera B. Williams. And first of all, before we even read the story, one of the things I absolutely love about this Caldecott winner is the pictures. There's so many different colors, and they almost use it like a mosaic where they piece different things together. So I really love this story, not just for the actual story itself, but for the pictures too. So during the story, be sure to pay attention to all the pictures and the message behind the words. Okay? So, a chair for my mother. My mother works as a waitress in the Blue Tile Diner. After school sometimes I go to meet her there. Then her boss, Josephine, gives me a job to do. I washed the salts and peppers and filled the ketchups. One time I peeled all the onions for the onion soup. When I finish, Josephine says, "Good work, honey," and pays me. And every time I put half of my money into the jar. So they work at the Blue Tile Diner. And like I said, with the pictures, they have blue tiles all over the page, which I absolutely love. But that's so nice of her that she goes in and helps her mom and helps Miss Josephine, and then she even gets paid for it. So maybe some of you, when you're doing chores at home, you might get paid for some of the chores that you do. It takes a long time to fill a jar this big. Every day when my mother comes home from work, I take down the jar. My mama empties all her change from tips out of her purse for me to count. Then we push all of the coins into the jar. Sometimes my mama is laughing when she comes home from work. Sometimes she's so tired she falls asleep while I count the money out into piles. Some days she has lots of tips. Some days she has only a little. Then she looks worried. But each evening, every single shiny coin goes into the jar. So right now, a lot of our families might be working at home, or they might actually still have to go into work because they're essential workers, which means maybe they work at the store, or your parents are nurses or doctors. And so because of that, it's really important that, we do things to help out. And so even she, the little girl, is helping her mom counting out her money and even adding her own money to the jar and doing things around the house and the shop to help. We sit in the kitchen to count the tips. Usually Grandmom sits with us too. While we count, she likes to hum. Often she has money in her own leather wallet for us. Whenever she gets a good bargain, means a good deal, or on tomatoes or bananas, or sometimes some other things she buys, she puts by the savings and they go into the jar. So even her grandmom likes to contribute and give a little bit. You can tell their mom's really tired from a long day's work. She's fallen asleep at the table, and grandmom and the little girl are helping count out more coins. When we can't get a single other coin into the jar, we are going to take out all the money and go and buy a chair. Yes, a chair. A wonderful, beautiful, fat, soft armchair. We will get one covered in velvet with roses all over it. We are going to get the best chair in the whole world. This is because our old chair burned up. There was a big fire in our old house. All our chairs burned. So did our sofa and everything else. That wasn't such a long time ago. So you find out The little girl and her family had a fire at their old home, which is awful. And so they're trying to save up money to buy new things for their house. My mother and I were coming home from buying new shoes. I had new sandals. She had new pumps. We were walking to our house from the bus. We were looking at everyone's tulips. She was saying she liked red tulips, and I was saying I liked yellow ones. Then we came to our block. So she's telling us about a story that happened a while ago, about her and her mother walking down the street, looking at the flowers, enjoying the day. Right outside our house stood 2 big fire engines. I could see lots of smoke. Tall orange flames came out of the roof. All the neighbors stood in a bunch across the street. Mama grabbed my hand and we ran. My Uncle Sandy saw us and ran to us. Mama yelled, "Where's Mother?" I yelled, "Where's my grandma?" My Aunt Ida waved and shouted, "She's here, she's here, she's here, she's okay, don't worry." Grandma was all right. Our cat was safe too, though it took a while to find her, but everything else in our whole house was spoiled. So they lost everything at their home, but luckily all the people in it were safe. The cat, grandma, everything that truly, truly matters, because you can always, always, always replace material things, clothes, furniture, that kind of stuff. You can always replace that. You can't replace a person, right? So that was the most important thing, and they were all safe. What was left of the house was turned to charcoal and ashes. Charcoal's like dust and dirt and grime. All burnt stuff. We went to stay with my mother's Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. Then we were able to move into the apartment downstairs. We painted the walls yellow, the floors were all shiny, but the rooms were very empty. So they had to find a whole new home, which I can imagine would be so hard. I mean, look at their house. It's got to be absolutely awful, right? It makes you feel terrible. It makes you wish you could help. The first day we moved in, the neighbors brought pizza and cake and ice cream, and they brought a lot of other things too. The family across the street brought a table and 3 kitchen chairs. The very old man next door gave us a bed from when his children were little. My other grandpa brought us this beautiful rug. My mother's other sister, Sally, had made us red and white curtains. Mama's boss, Josephine, brought pots and pans, silverware and dishes. My cousin brought me her own stuffed bear. Everyone clapped when my grandma made a speech. "You are all the kindest people," she said, "and we thank you very, very much. It's lucky we're young and can start all over." So the whole town came together to help the little girl and her family. Different relatives, which is family members, friends, and then even strangers, people they didn't know. That's awesome. It's important to do that in times like that where people need help. That was last year, but we still have no sofa and no big chairs. When Mama comes home, her feet hurt. "There's no place for me to take a load off my feet," she says. When Grandma wants to sit back and hum and cut up potatoes, she has to get as comfortable as she can in the hard wooden chairs in the kitchen. So that is how come Mama brought home the biggest jar she could find from the diner, and all the coins started to go into the jar. Now, the jar is too heavy for me to lift down. Uncle Sandy gave me a quarter. He had to boost me up so I could put it in. So now it looks like they're basically ready to use all the money they've saved up in their jar. After supper, Mama and Grandma and I stood in front of the jar. "Well, I never would have believed it, but I guess it's full," Mama said. My mother brought home little paper wrappers for the nickels and the dimes and the quarters. I counted them all out and wrapped them all up. On my Mother's Day off, we took all the coins to the bank. The bank exchanged them for $10 bills. Then we took the bus downtown to stop for the chair. So there they are at the bank collecting their money. Because it'd be kind of hard to buy a chair with like all coins, right? So they want to get like dollar bills, like the actual bills, to pay for their new chair. We shopped through 4 furniture stores. We tried out big chairs and small ones, high chairs and low chairs, soft chairs and harder chairs. Grandma said she felt like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears trying out all the chairs. I do love shopping for furniture. I get to sit on all sorts of furniture, see if it's soft and comfy or if it's too hard. I can imagine that would make you feel like Goldilocks. Grandma seems to be enjoying it from the picture. You can even see Mama in the chair kind of slouched down and then the little girl's feet in another chair. So they seem to be enjoying themselves. Finally, we found the chair we were all dreaming of, and the money in the drawer was enough to pay for it. We called Aunt Ida and Uncle Sandy. They came right down in their pickup truck to drive the chair home for us. They knew we couldn't wait for it to be delivered. There it is, the chair she was dreaming of right in the middle of the store. So they decided to take it home. I tried out our chair in the back of the truck. Mama wouldn't let me sit there while they drove, but they let me sit in it while they carried it up to the door. So there she is, chilling in her new chair. And all the adults kind of giggling at her, thinking she's silly. We set the chair right beside the window with the red and white curtains. Grandma and Mama and I all sat in it while Aunt Ida took our picture. Now Grandma sits in it and talks with people going by in the daytime. Mama sits down and watches the news on TV when she comes home from her job. After supper, I sit with her and she can reach right up and turn on the light if I fall asleep in her lap. The end. So I love that story, like I said, because it's very special to me. I think when our communities, our towns, and our neighborhoods go through some really tough times, and people in our towns and our neighborhoods going through tough times, it's important that we come together. The little girl was so lucky that she had family members, friends, and many other people who were able to come to her and her family's aid after the fire. They were able to bring food and chairs and other furniture and clothing to really help them restart their lives, right? We're all kind of going through a really tough and strange time right now, and some of our families might be working a lot. They might not be home a ton. So it's very important that we're constantly doing things that we can to help, right? Some of the things I know I've done, I've donated food to the Upper Marion Community Cupboard. I've tried to donate clothes to Green Drops and other places that really need things. So doing little things to help out is always super, super important. I also have been picking up groceries for my grandfather because I don't want him out shopping. So doing things like that are really helpful to others during times of need, right? And so my book challenge for you today is to do something, whether it be big in your community, like I said, donating food, donating clothes, maybe some donations of toys, or even doing something small around the house. Our parents are home working, a lot of them. And so they need some help around the house because you guys are home all the time now. So whether that means cleaning up your toys, loading the dishwasher, sweeping the floor, vacuuming the carpets, dusting, little things like that to help either your family or to help your neighborhood are awesome ways that you can really show that you care about people and to really build that sense of community, not just in your home, but also in your neighborhood, like Upper Marion or Camp Prussia. So that's why I chose a chair for my mother today. I love this story. I think it really makes you think about how lucky some of us are, and then think about also what you can do to help those that maybe are not as lucky or as fortunate as you are at this time. So there's the book, there's the challenge, and I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you bright and early on Monday morning for another read aloud. Have a great weekend, guys. Let's keep reading together.